Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and you guys know what time it is. Now, normally I would say that I've done 2 obligatory informative videos for the day, but I uploaded like 5 because my internet's been down for a few days. And a bunch of people, and I mean a bunch of people, have requested that I cover this Vitaly transformation. I don't know, so let me put on my +5 out of weaponsmithing, work on skilling up my crafting a little bit, and let's talk about this. Now, before we jump into that, let me address all the rumors. A lot of rumors out there. Some conspiracy theories, that I disappeared. Nothing came up on Saturday morning because I was sitting down ready to film videos and my internet went out. It's that simple. Internet was out for all of my neighbors. Half of my street, no one had internet for a few days. They finally got it repaired today. I got it put up. So hopefully that clears up the rumors, because a lot of people were like, oh my God, Norton, as in a lame Nordstrom, and Mark Pocketliner must have had him bumped off. Maybe Steve Shaw got involved. The big hairy ugly dude. They must have got him bumped off. He has disappeared. All these rumors, all these rumors. Other than I kept you guys updated on my Facebook fan page. I was updating you guys every day, letting you know what was going on with my training, letting you guys know I didn't have internet, and trying to keep everyone up to date with what the technicians were saying. I used my cell phone, because I have a data plan on that. Just couldn't get videos online. So hopefully that cleared up any of the rumors. They did not, in fact, bump me off. Now, they may have tried. I don't know, maybe they did. Maybe they did hire someone to bump me off. Maybe the Illuminati tried to bump me off. Who knows? Bunch of reptilian shape-shifting aliens. But luckily I survived. And my internet's back up. So I've been uploading again, or up there. But now that those rumors are out of the way, let's talk about this Vitaly thing. Well, how do we say his name? Yeah, I didn't actually listen to him. I've never heard him speak other than, I think, one video where he admitted to drug use. But that's kind of where we're going to go with this. I think he's Italian though, so maybe it's a Vitaly. Vitaly. That's what we're going to call him. Vitaly. So Vitaly did a transformation, and everyone's been asking me for weeks, hey, could you cover this? Do you think he's a fake natty? And I'm like, no, he admitted to steroids. Why would he be a fake natty? This guy said in another video that I saw that got sent to me quite a while back that he basically admitted he had used steroids. He admitted to it in a video. So how's he a fake natty? Well, then it turns out he is actually claiming to be natty. He is trying to sell his transformation. And so I had to look at this transformation. Now, what's interesting is that the transformation that he did does look a little trendy at the end, but that's not always a guarantee. Now, I've seen some other stuff, photos up and everything, they've gone through filters and everything, but that's not the same as a live video. Now, not saying he's that particularly big, because he's not massive. He really isn't that big in the after. But he does kind of have that look. Real lean, that full look, round look. Can be indicative of things. But I had to look a little closer because, the transformation that he did, the real problem is the time frame and that it was a cut. As far as his look goes, the overall look, or the amount of transformation he did, it could be done in a certain time frame, not 60 days. But if a guy came and said, look, I spent the last year doing a clean bulk, gaining weight, having to gain a little body fat, and I got as strong as I could on weighted chin-ups, overhead presses, bench pressing, rows, squats. Again, all these exercises that would build up the areas that grew on him, because you notice most of his gains are in that region, right? He gained a little bit in his arms and stuff, but a lot of upper chest, a lot of delt, a lot of trap, all those areas that people talk about being most affected by anabolics, right? That's what people say. And, had a person done all those exercises, I've told guys that before, if you really kind of want to pull off the look that guys get enhanced the best that you can natural as far as those certain areas building up. If you spend a lot of time getting really, really strong at the standing barbell press, and I've specified in the past why the standing barbell press, I'm not going to cover that here, weighted chin-ups, and a few other basic compound movements, if you get as strong as you possibly can on those, you can kind of replicate that look to some extent. Enough that people will often say, hey man, I think you're using a little gear. And I think that's what most guys who are natty, that's what they really want. They want to achieve something, whether it's performance, a strength level, a physique look, to where a person is going to say, hey man, I think you're using something. Because that's kind of a big compliment if you're clean. It really is. That's a big compliment to be accused. And you should take it that way. But if a guy does that for a year and then goes on a cut, like they spend a whole year bulking and getting really, really strong on those, and then they do a nice slow 4 or 5 month long cut so that they keep their muscle mass, then, I might say, well, that transformation's natty. That's doable. Where he was to where he went would be doable if someone did that. If they're going to spend 15, 16 months, it's over a year. And they've really focused on a proper progressive overload on those key lifts and got really, really strong on those lifts. They could pull that off, but they'll have to cut afterwards. Now, the first thing I noticed, just when I looked over at his channel, he's doing bro splits. Now, in what world does any natural person ever make fast progress doing a bro split, where they have a back day, an arm day, a chest day? That doesn't happen. You don't make fast progress on that sort of training. That sort of training was intended for people who use heavy amounts of drugs. This is understood at this point. I'm not saying you can't make gains doing it, but you're only going to make half of your possible gains. You could make double the gains in muscle mass running something more effective than that. So he's a bro split guy. The other problem is that Vitaly gained muscle and lost a significant amount of fat in 60 days. Now, that's not how it works. People who understand this process understand, other than in a few circumstances in which everything is perfect and it is slow if you do this, unless you're dealing with a muscle memory issue or a novice effect or someone who's pretty obese and he wasn't obese in the before, you don't really make a significant recomposition in one swoop. In other words, when you're losing fat, you might gain a small amount of muscle, or when you're gaining muscle, you might lose a small amount of fat, right? But it's not going to be rapid in any case. And even then, if you're doing both and you're not in those other situations I listed, you're already at a healthy body fat. You've already built a little bit of a muscle base. You don't have a muscle memory situation where you're regaining old muscle you've lost. You gain muscle very slowly while losing fat very slowly if you do both at the same time. In most circumstances, you have to gain a little bit of fat to make significant gains in muscle mass. And because, again, the anabolic and catabolic processes are not separable completely unless you're willing to deal with very slow progress. And the other also holds true. When you are losing body fat, you tend to lose a little bit of muscle. And the leaner you get, the more of the weight that you lose becomes muscle versus fat. In other words, you might not lose any muscle the first 5 or 6 pounds of fat you lose. And an obese person might actually be able to gain a little bit of muscle while losing 50 pounds of fat. Someone who's really fat. He wasn't really fat when he started. He was lean enough that in order to keep the little bit of muscle he had, he would have needed to do a very slow cut. You guys see the problem here? He lost a significant amount of fat in 60 days. That's 8 weeks. Right? I mean, a reasonable amount of fat to lose might be a pound of fat a week from the body fat he was at to keep the muscle that he had. That's about 8 pounds. You guys think he only lost 8 pounds of fat? No. He gained muscle and lost a lot of fat. Probably 15, 16 pounds of fat. I didn't see his before and after weigh-ins. I have no idea what he weighed, but I saw the video of the transformation and just scanned through it, the clips, to see the befores, the afters, moving around, so I could see the different angles. So here's the problem. If this is another snake oil salesman now who's trying to sell people a BS transformation, well, here's my problem. Vitaly, you're going to show them how to use the Trembolona. Eh? And the reason I say that is because that's clearly the case. He was eating clean, training hard, and never giving up, as the saying goes. That's how he pulled off his transformation. Because the mere fact that I saw he was even doing a bro split and makes a quick transformation is already suspect. The speed of the transformation, again, it's not how it works, guys. That's not how it works. You don't go from like 15% body fat down to like 9% body fat while gaining muscle in 60 days. Again, doesn't work that way. Had the transformation been spread out to a much, much longer period of time, you know, I might go, okay, yeah, he could have done that, Natty. Did a nice bulk, got really, really strong, and then spent a few months cutting. Not 60 days. Not 2 months, 4 months, 5 months, maybe a 6-month cut just to keep his muscle so he keeps the cut slow. Might have been believable. Might have been believable because he wasn't that big in the after. But ultimately what it comes down here, guys, just another fake Natty trying to sell snake oil and sell you guys some sort of garbage program and diet. It's not even really what he used. Unless that transformation that he's given out includes his drug stack and his sources, because he might have access to better stuff than your guy in the locker room at your gym, Paco, who sells. He might have access to a lot better stuff than you do. So, you know, unless he's including that also, it's not legit information. It just is what it is, guys. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.